Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very 36th episode of Cool Down Timer. I am your host, Neefu, and with me today I am joined by Zingle's Artman.
Zug Zug.
And from the frozen wastelands of Alaska, which apparently are filled with water because it's so warm and they're all nice and floody, Mark Hamilton.
All right.
But it's not flooding up here in Anchorage. That's down in southeast because of storms. Really, actually, it finally got properly cold. It's been unseasonably warm, but today and yesterday have been about 2 and 3 degrees in the middle of the day, and that's proper Alaska cold. So
we've been almost 60 up here, or down here, which is weird. We have mosquitoes.
What?
In January.
I hope it gets cold again and they all die and then there's no mosquitoes in summer.
I know, right? That would be wonderful. But yeah, we got mosquitoes in January. This is stupid. Hi, everyone. If you listen to the last 2 weeks episode... Oh, crap.
No! Not again.
No. I left my grandparents' house a couple minutes ago, and I told my mom I'd text her when I got home because I was really tired when I left, and so she wanted to make sure I didn't die. And so she was texting me to make sure I didn't die. Yeah, so the last 2 weeks episodes were actually the episodes we recorded about 6, 8, 10 months ago, whatever. So, yeah, now we're back to new material. Welcome back. Yay, we love you. Mark. You are afraid of things.
Multiple things.
We're all afraid of things.
Yep. But
as
today,
evidenced by the Amnesia videos. I never want to do that again.
I'll be the first to say 2 things about those Amnesia videos. They are hilarious to watch you guys freak out over stuff, and I would freak out worse if I had done it with you.
Here's the thing about that. I was legitimately scared. I don't react the same way that Neefu does, and I'm just not as entertaining on camera.
No, I mean that was the perfect example of that was our best of scares video.
Yes.
Like where it's just like I'm just screaming constantly because I'm utterly terrified, and then Zam's expression of being terrified is, ugh, that scared me.
It's the fight or flight. You're ready to fly. I'm ready to fight.
Oh,
Screaming doesn't help you if you're fighting.
I also realized that those last couple episodes kind of sucked because I was just like, I want to be done with this. And so I was super emotionally exhausted by the end. I just wanted, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I never want to play that game ever again. But
those compilation videos are great. If you haven't seen them, I would check them out. They're hilarious.
I was pretty proud of them.
It was worth it was worth being that terrified for the compilation video.
I mean, I don't know. Not to be that guy, but like, for what that is, like crappy YouTube entertainment, whatever. I did a pretty darn good job editing up those together because I've seen a bunch of other people's like best of videos for their horror game let's plays. People just don't get editing. I don't know.
You go ahead and toot your own horn because those were hilarious videos, well timed.
Yeah, they were really.
Wait, hold on, guys.
Oh.
He's tooting his own horn.
I don't know what I expected.
Dude, and the greatest thing, okay, I know I'm super sidetracking us already, but you can it's like a bike horn and you can take off the squeezy bit.
That's really annoying.
That's terrible.
This is
sounds like
this
a
is worse than the bop it at. This
horn.
is worse than the bop it at my wedding.
Yeah.
Your friggin' photographers yelled at us.
Anyway, so yeah, but yeah.
Yeah,
no,
Mark's terrified of things.
Yes, I am.
Well, specifically, you tell everybody what you're scared of.
Well, I have many phobias, and I believe this came up in a previous episode. I'd drop a number on you, but I can't remember. But one of my many fears is of puppets, and more generally of things that take on the appearance of something that is alive, but are in fact not alive. I later found out through my research that there's an actual
Episode
name for
26.
That. What?
Episode 26.
Oh, it was episode. Thank you. there's a name for that. It's called automatonophobia, which it's not a name I particularly like because it just names a thing and throws phobia at the end. An automaton is a human-like clockwork device. And yes, I find them creepy as well. But this is the thing of mine. And little video game came out past year or so. Quite popular. It's already got a sequel and another sequel in the works by the name of Five Nights at Freddy. So, Five Nights at Freddy's. And that game, it's my kryptonite.
During the last Steam sale, it was in my cart to do a playthrough of with Neefu. And then I mentioned it, and he was just like, I will never play that. And so I left it. I took it out of my cart. I was going to send it to him as a gift, but he wouldn't do it. Not even for you guys.
Nope.
If you don't know what Five Nights at Freddy is, pause the podcast and just look it up.
Yeah.
That's what you should really do. But long story short, it's a haunted Chuck E. Cheese full of animatronics that are trying to kill you, and you're a night guard, and you have to spend 5 nights there as part of your job.
It's a really interesting game because, like, the people who really play it are the people doing Let's Plays on YouTube. Like, I mean, as far as gameplay, there's not much there. It's not like really super intelligent horror or anything like that you would play because you're like, ooh, what's up?
Well, listen, I have never played the game for good reason. I don't even watch I don't watch Let's Plays of it for good reason.
I do.
This thing is designed for my exact set of fears, all right? I went to Chuck E. Cheese a lot as a kid. It's a real great place to be a kid. It's fun. The ball pit, games. One thing I never particularly liked was the animatronic. Let me back up a bit. I've become a bit obsessed with this game without ever playing it or watching people play it because part of my personality is to become intrigued by things that terrify me. Like a moth getting tracked to a bug zapper.
Dude, moths are terrifying. Have you ever been attacked by a moth?
Moths are awful. They're the worst harmless thing that exists.
They scream.
Anyway, moving on.
Different fear. The creator of Five Nights at Freddy has done a couple interviews, and in one of the interviews, they ask him, how come we never see the animatronics moving? Because except for the death animations when they get you, at which point they pop up on the screen, gnawing at the camera.
They jump scare.
With the exception of one other animatronic, who's the only one you ever see moving on the cameras, and he moves super fast, and it's really creepy. You never see the animatronics move. Every time you see them on the security system or outside your window, they're staring perfectly still. They're perfectly still, staring right at you. And they asked, why did he do that? Well, obviously one of the reasons he did that is because he's just one man making this game, and movement's hard. But he also said, listen, the animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese, they aren't scary while they're doing their little show. They're scary when they stop. And they just stand there and you realize that they were never alive. They were dead the whole time. And I just read that and said, yup. When the show wasn't going on, you could not find me anywhere near those animatronic monstrosities. Chuck E. Cheese. No, sir.
See,
sitting in their alcoves with dead eyes.
Would you be willing to share your story with the audience, or like the
yes? Okay,
short story that you wrote?
Oh well, I did write a short story about a guy who has automatonophobia, but it was pretty much just me ranting about my own problems with the skeletal story put around it. Tried to get it published. Nobody's interested. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. But because I'm extremely intrigued by things that terrify me, I saw there was a episode on the popular and well-made and just all-around great YouTube show Game Theory about Five Nights at Freddy's, and I thought, this is perfect. I can learn more about the game. Yeah, it's a really good episode, and they just did a new one about Five Nights at Freddy's 2, also really good. And I thought, this is great. I can find out about the game without having to play it. I watched the episode, and I had trouble sleeping for a week.
Wow.
Legitimately, just hearing about it made me, when I was lying in my bed, think, there's not a giant animatronic bunny behind your closet door.
Man, I
Walking
used
to
to
the-
sleep.
Walking to the bathroom in the middle of the night, there are not giant evil animatronics lurking in the darkness.
I used to sleep with a ventriloquist dummy next to my bed. And, like, the first week I had it, it was kind of creepy. But after that, I was just kind of like, it's a doll.
Maybe
Never
if I
bothered me
had
again.
one,
I had it for
would-
It's
years.
a doll now, but what if you look away and it's not quite in the same
That's-
position?
that's not
How
scary
do
to
you deal
me.
with Toy Story then?
Oh, first off, Toy Story
They're
is CGI, for one
Mhm.
thing. It has nothing to do with my life. Secondly, and this actually may be part of where I get the fear from, I would have loved it as a kid if my toys were coming to life when I wasn't around. Because I loved my toys. I would come up with stories. I had all these stuffed animals and toys, and it'd be like, oh, this is Tiger, and he's the leader, and this is so-and-so. That was just my personality as a kid. Sometimes I think, and I think this is where the problem was, I treated them as if they were secretly alive. Like if
Mhm.
they were just lying on the ground in a weird position, I would sit them up because I'd be like, oh, that's uncomfortable, you know?
Mhm.
Or,
I did
oh,
I-
it's got muddy. Oh, you're so dirty. I'll clean you up because you're like a little person. And I think
Right.
that is where it all came from. Because now
I did
it's
that
like
as well.
everything's secretly alive.
I did that as well when I was a kid, but I went a very different way with it. Where you got scared of it, I've become fascinated with puppets, like to the point where I would honestly love to make puppets as like a career thing. I won't, but part of me really wants to do that. I'm obsessed with puppets.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No. But
And my
yeah,
wife is terrified of them as well.
legitimately, it frightened me deeply, and I think it didn't help that, and this is where I was objecting to what you were saying, Zam, the story of Five Nights at Freddy, I just feel is so good for a horror story. It leaves so
Well,
much unexplained, but it says so much that you can put the pieces together, and that just made it worse for me. It just
Right.
made
No, and
it so much worse.
What I meant was that like the scares, there's only like one kind of scare. It's you know, it's just that jump scare when you die. There's not a lot else that happens.
No,
is what I meant.
there is one other kind of scare, all right? The
Mhm.
anticipation
Yeah.
of the
Right,
jump
but
scare.
I mean,
The whole thing is about building that dread. I can actually handle a jump scare okay. I cannot handle knowing that one is coming and I don't know when, and maybe it won't happen, you know. But
Right.
it probably will, and I can't stop it. That is the worst kind of dread, and from my point of view.
right. No, I agree. I'm not a fan of the
Suspense.
that suspense. There we go. I actually I played an alpha for a game this week that made me think of you, Mark.
Wait.
It's called.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to move to the next topic yet because I had one more thing I wanted to say about Five
Okay,
Nights
go
at
ahead.
Freddy's.
Go ahead.
Because this fascinated me, and it's part of the reason I became more interested in the game. Is do you guys know much about the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's?
Not a whole lot.
Okay, he has a really interesting story. For one thing, he's a really devout Christian.
Really?
Yes, he's made dozens of indie games, many of which were for something called like Hope Animation, which is some Christian outfit that was trying to make Christian games. He made a game about Pilgrim's Progress. He made several games that were supposed to teach
He's that
lessons.
guy?
Yes. And here's the thing. None of his games were ever particularly successful. And he became really bitter about it. Like he keeps making these games, and it was never a full-time job. It was always kind of his hobby. And he got pretty good at making games, but every game he put out, no success. No accolades, nothing. Just not going anywhere. Five Nights at Freddy's, he said basically he snapped. He says that one of his games came out and no one really noticed it, and the people that did notice it said it sucked. And one of the things they said was that the characters looked like scary animatronics. They were supposed to be cuddly beavers.
Oh,
So-
was this the wood game?
Yes.
The chopping wood game?
Yes. And
I was wondering if that was related.
it is, and he's like, he said it really put him into a depression, where he's like, why am I even doing this stuff? You know, nothing ever works. And then he said something just kind of snapped inside him, and he said, oh, they want to see something scary? I'll make something scary. And so after making all these games that were supposed to have like a point and a moral or something, he just said, no, I'm just making a game that's really scary. And that's the one that worked.
Right.
It's really caught on. There's this pretty serious
yeah.
cult following. When he just recently put Five Nights at Freddy's 3 on Steam Greenlight, and within a day it became #1 on Steam Greenlight. There's some crazy people out there, and now he can make games full time because he just said, you know what, forget it, I'm making a scary game.
Right.
I find
Well,
that
good
so
for him.
fascinating.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. And I find myself kind of fascinated with the game, though I'll never play it unless we do a playthrough.
Nope.
I know. I'm just saying that is the only way I will ever play.
It sounds pretty hard, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've been really reading
it's-
through the wikis because, again, moth to a bug zapper.
Right.
Where I just need to know more about it so it'll be less scary to me, and it never works. But they'll talk about, like, okay, the strategy for the 5th night is you have to do these exact things, and you'll probably make it through. And they all sound really complicated.
Really simple gameplay, but that the fact that you're helpless and can't move really beefs up that
I think
suspense.
that is what I've realized is the key to really successful horror is simplicity. I mean, the moment you try to overcomplicate horror, then it becomes a thinking game. But no, horror that needs to like dig deep and to just like terrify you has to be simple enough and vague enough that there's just enough of something there for you to get an idea and then fill in all the blanks yourself.
Right. But it can't be so simple that there's no threat. I mean,
No, yeah.
There's got to be that threat that you're going to, be overtaken and overcome easily.
By the way, I'm also claustrophobic. So.
Oh, I am. I am too. The thought
But
of
not-
not being able to move my arm
my gosh.
freaks me out.
Did
The
you?
Descent.
Oh no!
Have
I
you guys
wouldn't
seen the
do
movie The
anything like
Descent?
that.
No.
I'm not gonna do that.
Like I really, really, really liked the first half, maybe 2/3 of it, where it was focusing on these this group of girls that went spelunking in a cave that had been they get trapped in a cave system that had never been explored before. And it's just super like claustrophobic as they're just getting deeper and deeper into this cave system.
I don't like caves. I think caves look really cool. I've been in a couple caves, and the thought of like getting to the bits where you have to crawl through really tight spaces, that just
Exactly. No,
terrifies me.
there were some spots like that in the movie, and like there was one part where one of the girls gets stuck, and she's the last one, and all the other girls like went off way ahead of her, and she's just like screaming. It's just like, ah!
The thought of getting stuck and not being able
you
to
guys-
like turn around. Oof.
No, yeah, it's the moment. I think Zam mentioned this, but like the inability to move your arms.
Yes. So when I went through the ape caves when I was in Scouts, I got stuck under a couple of those really small places, and this is making me think of that. And I don't like it.
I was thinking of the ape caves too.
Yeah.
I don't think we got too far in the ape caves.
I didn't either, but
went
I saw
through
tight spots.
I went
made me
through
think of it.
several of them with my Scout troop.
Hezekiah's tunnel was pretty cool. It's all underground, and you are pretty much trapped down there. If something happens, you're screwed. But
Is that the one you go to? No, wait, no, sorry.
it's
ahead.
it's like just outside of Jerusalem.
Right.
And it's like a 35,
Globetrotter.
40-minute walk. And I mean, it's not bad. Like it's most of the area. The ceiling is like so far. The height or the top is so far up you can't even see it. I mean, there's a couple parts where you gotta like duck down into like some water that's like, you know, gets nipple level or whatever, but most of the time, you know, there's a good distance on each side of you, but you're trapped underground. I mean, if something happened, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Just as long as I can move my arms, I feel okay.
No, you could move your arms, and so it was good. But we had a girl in our group that was claustrophobic, and so she was at the very, very front with the leader guy, and I think one of the ways that we helped her to try to cope with it is we all sang like some songs together, you know, just to get her to focus on not
Dude,
that.
When we were going through Lake Cave, we got down to the very end, and it was it's a long hike through this cave. We've been walking for a while.
Where is Lake Cave?
It's one of the ape caves. It's like the biggest one, I think, or well, the most popular one. So anyway, we get to the very end of it, and there's like this little lake there, hence the name, and we all turn off our lights, and you know that term like the dark just pressing in on you.
Hand.
Well, like, you know, like pressing in on you.
Yeah.
It literally felt like I was being compressed from all sides, and I had to like lay back against the rock and just like try to breathe the whole time because it was so claustrophobic. You don't know that there's something that dark. I can't, like, even now, I can't really remember it and comprehend it because it's been so many years, you know? But I remember being there and being like, I can feel it. It's weird.
Tornadoes terrify me.
Have you guys ever heard of the Enigma of Amigara Fault?
No.
Yeah, okay, it was a short horror manga story thing.
That's why.
It went around the internet a while back, and it's basically about claustrophobia, and it is terrifying, and I hate it. And I
hate claustrophobia.
I'll send you a link so you can put it in the description. All I gotta say is, it's the scariest claustrophobia tale I've ever heard.
I have a weird fear of tornadoes. And
really?
Living in the Pacific Northwest, you know, for the longest time that was okay because there weren't tornadoes here. But over the last 2 years, there have been quite a few like really random tornado sightings up here.
Yeah. There was one recently, a small one.
Stupid. Friggin' tornadoes, man.
I am not.
I have like
afraid of
nightmares of tornadoes.
Really?
Like I'm terrified of tornadoes because they're just like, yeah, I'm here.
Dude, when I was a kid, I was terrified of volcanoes.
Wait. Don't move on to volcanoes yet. Because I gotta say about tornadoes, I am the exact opposite. If I were not married, I would consider being a storm chaser. Because I love wind so much. And the stronger the wind, the more excited I get. I would end up being one of those guys that gets killed by a massive tornado.
Well, I think my problem is that things like tornadoes and floods and volcanoes and whatnot are basically nature's way of saying, don't get comfortable. It doesn't matter how safe you think you are. Your life means nothing to me. And it's just like, okay, I'm meaningless in the world here. You can just come here and just wipe me away if you so choose to. I mean, not that you're a conscious being or anything, but if I'm at the wrong place at the wrong time and you just happen to be here and I just happen to be here, my life is nothing. My life is a meaningless, you know, just fragile nothing.
Wow, that's a happy note. Glad we're not ending there.
I'm very different. Natural disasters do not frighten me any more than I think they should. Like, oh, I better be careful this thing doesn't kill me. That's the extent to which they frighten me. Otherwise, it's like, all right, if a flood kills me, okay, that sucks. If I'm killed by malevolent puppets, what the heck just happened? The world makes no sense.
Okay, so, you guys, I really want to talk about Stranded Deep.
Okay.
You got 5 minutes, if even that.
Okay, so Stranded Deep. It's like The Forest, which I'm a huge fan of. The survival horror game. But on a bunch of small islands, and there are no monsters.
Not the same kind of survival horror that used to be defined by the term survival horror. This is like survival. it's horror survival, because survival horror is a totally different
Yes.
genre, like Resident Evil. It's horror survival
It's a horror. It's a survival game
with horror
with
aspects.
scary monsters. Anyway, the forest is amazing, but this game, it looks pretty similar. It uses a crafting system pretty similar to the Stomping Land. I think that's what it's called. Where you don't have a big inventory and you put things on the ground and have to put them together to make different things. It's kind of cool. But this game seems really neat. Lots of islands to explore, and you have to go on boats. But the thing that made me think of Mark is that I didn't know this when I was messing around in the alpha, but I was reading up on the wiki a little bit later. Apparently, a big portion of the game is exploring shipwrecks. So, first off, anything underwater is always scary, and I don't know why, but it just is.
Well, it's the same sort of claustrophobia, where it's just like, if you're way deep down underwater and something happens, you can't get to safety easily.
Right. Yeah, and in this you have to go from like air pocket to air pocket and get your way down into these ships. But that's the only place you can get like modern loot. Everything else in the islands is just coconuts and palm trees, which is great. But there's only so much you can do with coconuts and palm trees. Also, like the fish near the island are like minnows. You can eat them, but you're gonna have to eat like 30 to fill yourself up. Or you could dive down into the ocean, spear some bigger fish, and hope that the blood doesn't attract sharks.
Yeah, sharks.
And they tried to make the sharks realistic as far as like they're not going to just mindlessly attack you as soon as they see you. I got in the water right next to a shark and I even tried to kill it, but it didn't attack me until I speared it. Point is, anytime I think of those big water monsters like that, I always think of you, Mark.
No, yeah, that's the trifecta for me. It's puppety things, claustrophobia, and water. Deep underwater things. Deep, dark water.
So what about
deep
being in
places.
an underground cave with a puppet shark?
Am I in the water?
Almost. The water is very close to you. No! Friggin' the Abyss! How'd you do with the Abyss?
I'm not gonna watch that. Wait, is that the one with like aliens
the
at
James-
the end?
Yeah, actually. Yeah. But, I mean, most of the movie, they're underwater in a friggin' oil rig.
That's fine. I don't mind watching
I don't know,
movies
man.
for people
Friggin'
underwater.
not under oil rig, but like an underwater research station. I think that was one of the that terrified me too. Just like, you're underwater, and I mean, the water's just hanging out there in a little pool thing, but you're surrounded by water.
I remember you telling me about that movie when you first saw it.
What's weird is I'm not scared of drowning. That is no fear of me.
It's the
if I was in an
unknown, I think,
underwater,
isn't it?
yes. If I was in an underwater research station and like a hole got punched in it and it's filling up with water, I'd be fine as long as I was still inside. I'd be like, oh, I'm drowning now.
As long as you don't get attacked by a shark while you're halfway drowned.
As long as I don't have to think that I will be anywhere near one of the monstrosities of the deep.
Right.
And they are terrifying. And on that terrifying note, we have come to the end of episode 36 of Cool Down Timer. I hope you had a fantastic week this week, and I hope you're ready to spend another half hour or so with us next week. I'm Neefu, Zam, and Mark are here too. I mean, I introduced them at the beginning, and, they're here.
The question of the week is,
oh,
what
geez,
terrifies you?
Yeah, what terrifies you?
Do we still
Let
have
us
an
know.
email address for them to
Contact us at cooldownttimer.com. We also have the Facebook page. You can let us know at Mark. Go watch Agent Carter.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, bye, guys.
See ya. Cool down timer, yeah. Cool down timer, yeah.